As a believer in the Bible, in Jesus Christ, and even if you don't believe, at one point of your life, you may have gone through a stage where you felt God was very judgmental. He's very strict. As one that believes in the Bible, even some texts may seem to show God as this judge, as this strict individual. And if you're not a believer, maybe you've heard of this God of judgment, this God that sends people to hell. Now, there's a level of truth to that, but that's not the whole picture. When you read the Bible in John chapter 15, from verse 1 and verse 2 says this: I am the true vine, this is Jesus speaking, and my Father is the husbandman or the gardener. Every branch in me that does not bear fruit, the Bible says he takes away or removes or cut off, some translation says. Then the text continues and says, and every branch that does bear fruit, he pruneth it so it can bear more fruit. Now, I'm no professional gardener, but the picture that God is trying to show here is that Jesus is this vine, and this vine has got branches connected to it. And when the Father, the gardener, comes and checks the vine, being Jesus, if you're not bearing fruit, the Bible says, the translation, the English translation says, he removes you. Now, if you're a believer or non-believer, the image that you have of God there, it seems to be a harsh one. One that God just comes and he checks, no fruit, removes you. But is that really the image of the Father? Because other times we hear that God is meant to be a God of love, but that doesn't seem too loving. But as we look at the text a little closer, we understand something. That the text is not actually written, the Bible is not written in English. That's not the original language. It's translated into English from Greek. So when the Greek hearers would have read or heard this text being read, they won't have the same connotation as we have, as God the Father going and just removing the vine or the branches from the vine. You see, as a gardener, we'll go and check this, for example. Imagine this is my vine, and these are my branches, and I'm checking my vine. Now I check and I find out, oh, it's not bearing fruit. Some branches are, others are not. The ones that are sagging low, here comes the point, are not bearing fruit because they're not in the right environment as the ones at the top, so that they can receive sunshine, they can receive rain, so they can bear fruit. The ones that are a bit lower, which you'll find in any vine or any plant that is growing, some will sag lower and others sag higher. The ones that are lower, you find that they're not bearing fruit. So a good gardener will not come and remove that branch. No, it will actually come and elevate it and lift it up. What is interesting, in the Greek language, that word that we normally translate as take away or remove is the Greek word arrow. The Greek word arrow. Now, any definition or concordance, you find a word, and when you see that word, you have different ways to interpret that word. And the lower down you go down the list of that translation, the further away it comes from the true meaning of that word. And the first meaning of the Greek word arrow, it isn't to take away, remove, or cut off. No, it's actually to elevate, to lift up from the ground. Now, this is important because when the Father sees me and you, he does not come and just take us away because we're not bearing fruit. No, he arrows us. He lifts us up from the position that we're in to a new position so that we can bear fruit. I like how the Passion Translation puts it. In John chapter 15, verse 2, it puts it this way. He comes for the branches connected to me by lifting them up or propping them up so that they can bear fruit. He doesn't come and check and he says, okay, you're not bearing fruit, let me take you away. No, he checks you, then he props you up or he lifts you up from that environment into a new environment. I don't know what image you had of the Father before, but I'm here to tell you, he's not trying to destroy you. He's trying to do everything possible to move from one environment to a new environment so you can bear fruit. That fruit is that character of Jesus. I hope you're blessed.